I used to make videos about the law of assumption, right? Now, I'm not going to say I don't believe in the law of assumption, because I do. I do. Just in the same way I believe in the law of attraction. However, we're missing the blueprint when it comes to the law of assumption in Neville Goddard's teachings. And the blueprint is Abdullah. And he was an Ethiopian black male, okay? And he taught Neville in New York in the 1930s about the law of assumption. Now, Abdullah acquired this knowledge from African spiritual science, correct? And I want to go deeper into this because I have my notes right here just in case, okay? So let's start with this first. Abdullah was a master mystic, okay? And what he believed was that your internal state is what commands your external state. In other words, speaking your life into existence. Whatever your conscious state is within this very moment is what is going to command your physical reality, okay? Now, the reason I said that Abdullah took from African metaphysics is because it all originated within, this all originated within African culture. Let's talk about hoodoo. Hoodooism, right, is a way to, you're basically doing a ritual manifestation, okay? But you're using candles, you're burning oils, you're using jars, you're using water. You are working with nature and you're working with your ancestors, and you are basically asking for guidance in order to bring the things that you want into your life, right? However, Abdullah skipped over that, and he decided that your mind is the most powerful thing, okay? Understanding the word ashe. Ashe is the power of the spoken word and the truth that your spirit and your mind command the physical world, okay? When you do root work, which is hoodoo, you are not just using magic, you're tapping into the same ancient mental power Abdullah taught passed through our ancestors for generations. So a part of that, hoodooism is still commanding the things that you want into your reality with your state of consciousness as well. The only thing is that you're using external tools in order to bring those things that you want into your reality. Now, the reason I say that it originated in from African spiritual science is because during those times, our ancestors who were enslaved here, okay, Black Americans, they actually practiced this very root work. They practiced hoodoo, okay? And this has been going on for generations and generations. So when people speak about Neville Goddard and they talk about Neville Goddard being the person that founded the law of assumption, if Neville Goddard didn't meet Abdullah, he wouldn't have even known what the law of assumption was, right? See, when I first started my channel, I noticed that a lot of people gravitated towards me talking about surface level bullshit. And the reason I call it surface level bullshit is because you want a quick fix when it comes to your manifestations, but you aren't even in alignment with the things that you desire in order to manifest the things into your reality, because your state of consciousness isn't even in the state of I am. You don't believe yourself to be the God of your reality. Therefore, the things that you want to manifest will not manifest. Because who are you? Right? Now, I'm not saying you have to do root work. I'm not saying you got to do voodoo. I'm not saying none of that. But what I am saying is that modern day society has pushed this agenda, correct? They have pushed this or this false narrative, let's call it, this false narrative to tell you that you can manifest all the things that you want within under a minute. It's all clickbait and it's all BS. Just like when people want to manifest their specific person, people have free will, whether you choose to believe it or not. But you taking away their free will and saying that, no, Neville Goddard said, well, these individuals don't have free will. This is what Neville Goddard taught. You're saying this is what Neville Goddard taught, but where did Neville Goddard get it from? Abdullah deserves his flowers. Okay? And see, this is one thing I don't like, because I noticed this with a lot of coaches. I used to do the same thing. I used to be a part of different groups, correct? I used to be a part of different groups, and I used to talk to different coaches. And I remember one coach had told me to affirm your reality, to just keep affirming and affirming. Do you not know that drove me in goddamn insanity? It drove me insane. In order to truly understand what we're doing, we first have to get to the root of the problem. In order to truly heal, you have to get to the root of the problem. So to fully understand what you're doing, you have to know where it originated from and how it came about. You can't just take from African spiritual science and then you put your own toxic bullshit over it and say, well, this is what it is. No, it's not. I'm not saying that Neville Goddard, what he spoke was not true, because it is. The power of the conscious state, your consciousness is going to intercept your physical reality. And the way it intercepts that is, how do you feel about yourself? People only focus on the self-conception. You have to get to the root of the problem. Why do you feel the way you feel when it comes to love? Why do you feel the way you feel when it comes to money? Why do you feel like you can't acquire the things that you want in your reality? Why do you keep constantly manifesting the things that you do not want? You have to do the work. You can't just go over it. Just like when you get wounded, you can't sit here and just pop a Band-Aid on it and keep going. You have to clean the wound. You have to do the deep cleaning. But people don't want to do the understanding. They don't want to go to the deep understanding of how this came about. And the reason I want to talk about Abdullah is because Abdullah deserves his flowers. Right? Once again, he was the one who trained Neville Goddard. He was the one who taught him about the power of the mind. He was the one who decided to teach him that in order for you to change everything around you, you must first go within yourself and realize that everything you desire is already within you. You are the god of your reality. You are the goddess of your reality. You can command the things that you want. You have the authority to do just that. So all of these teachings were passed down from generations of generations from our ancestors. Okay. Now, I will make another separate video maybe later on, because I do want to say this. I will make another separate video later on breaking down what voodooism and hoodooism is. Now, I want to say this because I do want to say this. I am going to talk more about the power of the conscious mind, the consciousness, understanding who you are as an individual. Because when I used to talk about the law of assumption, I also spoke of the law of attraction, being able to attract the things that you want. But the truth is, the way I look at the law of attraction, you're not attracting anything outside of you, because everything that you want is already within you. You already have the tools within you to create the things that you want. You already are love. You are the blueprint. But you have to be the one to realize that. And until you realize that, and until you actually step within your power, then you will forever continue to go in circles and circles and circles and circles and in patterns to where you won't get the things that you want. And I know a lot of these coaches and people, and I'm not taking from coaches or whatever, but I feel like a lot of people want surface level manifestation than actual true manifestation. You don't want to really get to the root of the problem of why you can't obtain, and some people can obtain, but you can't sustain it. You know what I'm saying? You can't keep your manifestations, right? So it goes deeper than what you guys believe. This wasn't about modern self-help books and none of that. This all started within African spiritual science. And I stand on that. And I don't care what nobody says, because it's the truth. Okay? So I hope you guys like this video. And If you have any other questions or anything, say it in the comments. I will say this though, I always leave this in the video. I am still the student in life. I am not the teacher.